right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan, and welcome to a special edition of Let Us Play. Don't normally stream on Wednesdays, but that lull between Christmas and New Year's is always kind of weird, even in church work. So I don't have anything except for this today, and it's nice to be with y'all because I get to celebrate my affiliate status anniversary, which happens on Christmas, but is the closest I can get. So, you know, we're going to do a mini marathon today. Nothing too big, but I've got 4 games lined up. We'll play a little bit of all of them. Not necessarily looking for any specific length of time. So we should just be having some fun. As Gail pointed out, it's a post-Boxing Day stream. I guess that makes this Boxing Day. That's the 3rd day of Christmas, so my true love gave to me a bonus stream. That's what I'm saying. I don't know who my true love is. Apparently it's myself, since I gave myself the stream. But before we get started, I want to thank a couple of follows. Thanks to Late to the Game, thank you for the follow, and J Ren Fuego, thank you for the follows. Glad y'all are here at the channel. Hope you have a great time. So for our first game, thought, you know, celebrate the channel, the community, a good place to start. Minecraft. Just kind of a nice classic. And this is the stream, or the one that the mods have access to, the server. What I was thinking is, beyond just doing some basic mining, so we have our door to darkness as the entrance to our base. Built that on the 1-year anniversary of the channel. Yeah, you should log back into it. If you can log back into it today, that'd be even better. What I was thinking is beginning work on a church. I had an idea for something similar-ish to St. Peter's in like design, a cruciform basilica with a baldacchino. So let's go ahead, let's do that. Let's plan out our palette. Get anything fun for Christmas? I did. I got a kilt. I got a kilt for Christmas. It's awesome. So I'm thinking polished granite for the altars. And accent pieces of the baldacchino. The baldacchino itself, probably something like cobbled deep slate. And then probably want to do something with like smooth stone and making it into brick. Or not brick, but here, let's fire some of that up. So we make some polished deep slate. Yeah, we can make some nice like walls and bricks. I think that'll look nice for the baldacchino. Not quite how you spell baldacchino, but sure. Tea. So, how was everyone's Christmas? Everyone have a nice one? For flooring, probably andesite and diorite. They can make, if you smooth them out, they can make some nice patterns and textures. Never was a good speller. That's fair. And that's okay. And it's not fair because baldacchino has a Q in it. Good food, good company. So I'm thinking the walls, we can do a lot with like stone brick and smooth stone just to give it a little bit of texture. Oh no! Oh, well, glad you were feeling better, Bad Roxy. My Christmas was busy, as you might imagine. It was good. It was beautiful. But after I was done with Mass, I was like, okay, I'm going to go take a nap now. I will see you in 3 days. I am running low on on coal. That is a problem. So that's probably something we're going to have to fix. So what I'm going to do for now, we're going to have to do some material acquisition. So I'm going to put our pallet. That's one thing I like to do with big builds as well. Is design a pallet first and have that in mind. I'll probably want some glass panes. Need a desert. We can color that stuff in later, but for now we'll... Oh, I'm running low on food too. And yes, yay, naps. Yeah, part of me would have wanted to do this stream on the 26th on Boxing Day, but no, I was still tired and worn out and was like, no. Kind of want to try mining into some... Oh, no. Why is there a skeleton? Where did he spawn? That skeleton. You're not allowed to be here. Kind of want to try digging into the wall. Because we're going to need a fair amount of deep slate. Not as much as some of the other bricks. But I'd like to make this... Oh, that's a problem. I would like to make this church kind of large in the end. Yay, dreading the undead. I do dread the undead. And I dead them. I re-unalive them, as they would say on the TikTok. So what kind of fun things did folks get for Christmas? Like I said, I got a kilt. That was the main thing I got. But I got some other fun stuff too. Got nice keychain that's reminiscent of a play I was in. You revoked their free trial subscription to Life. You put them on a t-shirt. I made them a statistic. Ooh. Air fryer and licorice. I like both these things. MetaQuest 3, nice. Wait, what's the... What did I just pick up? Oh, tough. I picked up tough. Is tough an indicator of a geode? I can't remember. I don't think so. I think we'd have found it by... Yeah, I would have transitioned into the white stone. A cherry wooden spoon. Nice, that sounds beautiful. Tough is an indicator of toughness. I can't argue with that, Gale. Oh, sorry, Kit. I saw the color and it looked like Gale to me. Oh, wait. Wanted to walk backwards for a moment. Hold on. Normally, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb mode while I stream, but I figure with today being extra long, I'm going to leave it on, just in case. Yeah, this is the white stone I was thinking of. And this might actually be a good accent, the calcite. This might be a good accent tool as well. As with the amethyst, actually. The amethyst would be just a nice thing to have. Yeah, you need accents because you need to be... Because if you're going to make something big, you need to break it up so it's not just one monotonous color and pattern. Because at a certain point, it just gets to be too much, and... There's a time and a place where you can use it to your advantage, like I did the stepwell. But it's still good to have some variation, and... It's something I'm still definitely learning in my builds, but... Okay, well, we're done digging here for now because I just broke my pickaxe. That's true, amethyst is your birthstone. It's a very pretty birthstone. I like amethyst. Fun fact, it's just rusted, it's rusted quartz, basically. And you can leave it out in the sun and it will get bleached. Dan Hurd from Dan Hurd Prospecting had a really good video on it, explaining what quartz is and how to use it, or like how it's formed. And okay, let's make all that polished. Okay, I don't want the gravel or the tuff in there. Am I out of pickaxes? Wow, I'm out of pickaxes. Oh, that reminds me. Thank you, Kit. There is a new channel point thing you can redeem. For 5,000 channel points, you can activate a GEC. I'm very proud of having made that. Rotada. Oh, today is the Feast of St. John the Evangelist. Hold on, I'm looking for something. There we go. I did just give you one for free. I had to show you what it is. Anyway, today is the Feast of St. John the Evangelist. And in St. John's Gospel, there's a repeating character called the Beloved Disciple, and it's not entirely clear who the Beloved Disciple is. General consensus says that it's John himself, but others say it's a different character. I do like to think that it's him, because especially with the Gospel that happens today, it's Peter and the Beloved Disciple going to the tomb, and it goes out of its way to show that the Beloved Disciple went there first and believed better than Peter. But John traditionally is the Beloved Disciple, takes Mary into his home, takes care of her, writes his Gospel last. It's the most theological of them. But I also like the interpretation that in some way John the Baptist wrote... What? Excuse me. Excuse me, I am talking about not John the Baptist, John the Evangelist. Excuse me, I am busy, my good sir. No. Thank you. The John the Evangelist also has the beloved disciple kind of be a blank slate onto which we can put ourselves, because we are the beloved disciple, and it allows us that level of imaginative prayer and relationship with the experiences of Scripture, even if we weren't there. And I think that's pretty dang cool. And I like to point out sometimes that, we can think, oh, well, we sometimes like to interpret Scripture as though people back then just didn't know, they weren't very smart. It's like, no, they were probably smart, way smarter than we give them credit for. Case in point, doing something literary like that. Yeah, tradition has it that John never married either. I'm gonna go into the Nether, see if there's any stuff we want there. Yes, I did just make gold shoes. It will make sense. But just to see if there's anything there that would maybe fit the aesthetic or the palette we're going for. Because what I'm thinking is like an altar with a baldacchino on a raised platform, surrounded by, in a large circular area with a dome, 4 inset pillars so you can kind of go behind them as well. And that is the center of the cruciform. So. Oh, shoot. Panic. Uh-oh. The fire went out. That's a problem. Because we need... The portal went out. I do want these bone blocks, though. I like bone. I think it's a really nice block. Because it's got just a very subtle visual pattern to it. Don't look, Twitch chat. Don't look. There, see, everything's normal. I just had to get that to restart the portal. Jerk of a ghast. Oh, hey, Hello, Sparky. What am I not looking at? Yeah, I mean, that's the Nether for you. No, just me pulling up that menu to change my game mode. I don't like being on all this soul sand. It's very slow. But I was hoping to find maybe a There are some like forests and things that have like bright green trees. I don't think we're finding it. I nearly just leaped down the hole. Goodbye, Sparky. Ah, are you on your Steam Deck, I'm guessing? You mean Minecraft, a non-Steam game, is not optimized for the Steam Deck? I am shocked and amazed. Okay, that should be enough for now. We got these amethyst shards. Those are cool because we can make a spyglass with them. Also need some copper, which I think we saw some around. Yeah, we did. Oh, installing requires a keyboard and mouse. I could see that. We have quartz of rusty quartz. Ooh, coal. That's great. We needed that. What am I looking to do? Drop that, drop that, drop that. Hang on to that. Don't need that much copper smelted right away. Need 2 copper ingots. And then we can make a spyglass. There we go. Spyglass goes zoom. Okay, now that we've gotten some of our basic palette ready, let's go find a spot. Probably want an axe to help clear out the inevitable forest. Rusty quartz is very useful. Lets me do this. So what way should we head? Maybe this way out from the base? No, because this has a huge chasm and there's no direct way over it. So maybe over this way, on the other side of this mountain. I forget how big this area is. Oh yeah, we have our paper farm. Let's check in on it, see how it's doing. It is working. Okay, I don't think this spot's gonna work though. Maybe over there. This could work, but we'd have to terraform out into there. I'd rather try to avoid terraforming. Let's check behind the door. Wow, look at all these monster parts. Wonder where they came from. Ah. I see. Well, no, we'd have to terraform. This would work for the main nave, but in the site of Rotata. Yeah, that would be perfect. But I think we'd still have to terraform out to one side. And I'd like to avoid as much terraforming as possible. It's just a pain to do and to make it look good. Would be in this forest. But again... yeah, it's tricky. Because I want to... make this sizable. It's gonna... This area could work. Be a lot of tree chopping, but we could make it work. Ooh, sponge candy. Very nice. You know, you can make your own sponge candy. Apparently, what you do is you just make, I think, softball. I forget what level of heating the sugar you have to get to, but then you basically just mix it with baking soda, and it causes a chemical reaction and just kind of pops off and expands and then dries out. Boom, you've got sponge candy. I think Chef John has a video on how to do it. Now this is what I'm talking about. Savannah. It's big. It's open. There's some trees, but we don't have to chop a ton of them. It's fairly flat, so there's not a ton of terraforming to do. This is where we build our church. So how do I want to signify this? Probably just with like a pillar of amethyst seems easy to spot. And the home base is roughly that way. So it's not too far. Hello, sheep. Thank you for pushing me around. Ooh, bees! I'm getting distracted, I know, but it's okay. Because there are bees. Hello, bees. Where is your hive? Probably somewhere around there. Oh, there it is. So we need to get the bees into the hive and a silk touch item. Then we can take them home with us to the base and build an apiary. Okay, let's get out some materials to plan out the altar area. This won't necessarily be the final altar, but... Hey, Squirrelich! Thank you for the 3-month resub. Beefly Bears, Bobay Bill. Yeah, I think if we do it about here, that should be... Because we have to think this is like the main nave. And then we'll have 2 transepts and a rear nave. Yeah, I think this is it's going to be a little more terraforming back here, but not as much as some of those other areas. So how big of an altar area do we... So, a good-sized altar that looks good in Minecraft. Probably do like a 2x4. And then have like the center be essentially have like a 2x2 square made out of upside down stairs, so it kind of has some angling, and then some flat platforms out, making it a 2x4. So that should be pretty good size. So if we wanted that, it would be roughly... Should be an architect? Probably wouldn't be able to stream as much as an architect. So the idea is if this would be an altar, definitely want space to be able to go around it. So probably 2 squares out for the whole platform. So these could be the posts of the baldacchino. I should have brought a bed with me. We have to go fix that. Because I'm going to be out here working for a while. I need the wood pegs with string decorated with red ribbon. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about, Kit. To set my boundaries. Oh, yeah. Minecraft is not built for urban planning. And yet people do it anyway. Yay, sunset, but nighttime brings the monsters. And I don't have the base really torched up to keep them at bay, which I should fix. But that sounds like a problem for another day. I'll do some as I come in. Look at that. Look at all those monsters over there. Thinking they own the place. Not paying any rent. Do I have spare wool? Do I have spare wood? Because I should also be making a crafting bench to use out there, honestly. Oh, no, I don't have any of that. Fortunately, there were many trees. And sheep. Actually, I should have enough iron. I can make a pair of shears. All right, let's go solve some of our problems. Although food will be an issue. So it's roughly this way. Ooh, salmon. Speaking of the food issue. That'll help out a little. Look at that. There it is. Sheep, come here. I need your help. Thank you. Thank you. What is happening with the lighting? Where's the sun? I think my Minecraft just glitched. So that's fun. Some of those. Make me one of those. Make me a bed. There. Now all of that is set up. Oh. That's a problem. You see that banner with the big angry face? That's attached to a dude called a raider. They're mean. I want them to leave me alone, so I'll leave them alone. Especially because I'm only at 3 food, so I'm pretty hungry. Don't mind me, guys. Just getting some beef. Hi there. Yep. It's okay. Don't. Nope. Yep. Nope. See? Everything's fine. You guys can go away. It is, in fact, raining. If we got up to a high enough elevation, it would be snowing. Oh, no, they're still there. Or pillager, that's what they're called. Not raider, pillager. Because it's like villager, but... No, guys, it's okay. No. Ow. Okay, I think I just have to deal with this. Yes, shoot each other. Thank you. You are helping. Eat the raw salmon. Nope. And I didn't reset my spawn point. What do they want? They want that. They're just angry. Probably won't make it in time to get stuff back. Unless I do this. Zoom! I go as fast as the crow flies. Oh, it's actually not that far. Now, where did I... Oh, there's lava there. That could be a problem when we're building. Ah, here's my stuff. And they seem to have moved on. They got bored and left, I guess. Shouldn't I cook that beef? No, I'm having beef tartare. And yes, I should cook it, but it's a little hard to cook the beef when you're being attacked by pillagers. Ooh, lots of flowers over there. I'm doing my best to mince it. Look, I think it's only like a 25% chance to get food poisoning in Minecraft when you eat raw beef, so, you know. Where did I mark out for the Baldacchino then? Because there's the amethyst pillar that's sort of quasi anchor. There it is. I'm going to set up some torches on this so it's easier to see. Okay. Gonna set up a furnace over here so I can cook this beef. Get an air fryer. If Minecraft had an air fryer, I probably would, but for now I'm gonna cook it in the same thing I make my ingots in. That seems safe and sanitary, right? Oh, so something funny happened on YouTube. So occasionally videos get flagged because they have copyrighted music. And what that... Step 0, ooh, I need you to sleep. We both have to be asleep. Step 0. Anyway, so sometimes videos get flagged and it's like, oh, this music's copyright claimed, and all it means is that the money made, which I don't make any money on YouTube for the record, but whatever money is made from the ads goes to the copyright owners. What made me laugh is that this video from the Stanley Parable got flagged for the elevator music. The thing that is supposed to normally be copyright free by like definition is in fact licensed elevator music. And it's called like the Bossa Nova elevator track or something. I don't know. I just found that very funny that the Muzak, the literal... Oh shoot, there's footsteps. That's usually not a good thing. Okay, it was just a sheep. But yeah, you know, the Muzak, the thing that's normally like so generic and copyright free, that's the thing that gets flagged. Okay, that should keep me pretty safe around the sleeping area. Or did I say, is there's a spider? Bad spider. Let's see, do I have mod control here on the server? I forget. I should. Kick at Sparky. No, I won't. I was lost in a mangrove swamp. That sounds like a song. I was lost in a mangrove swamp. Okay. So now this is roughly where the platform will be. So then outward would be steps. So how high do we want this to be, I guess? 5? Is 5 a good amount? That's not quite 3 times a Minecraft person. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this one would be ground level. So this would be step 1 of what is essentially like a step pyramid. Is that what I want to go for? I'm going to look at a reference picture really quickly. Oh, so the altar area, the main sanctuary of St. Peter's, is lower than I remembered, to be honest. Like, it's on a raised platform from the rest of the nave, but not by, like, this tall. Like, I'd say only maybe about 6 feet up. So that would probably only be about 2 blocks or so. And I do intend to build a confessio as well for this. That's where you'll see this a lot in Roman churches, where, like, in front of the altar area, there's this, like, large structure shaped kind of like this, where it, like, curves out in front, and there's steps down. That's called a confessio. Tell you what, we're gonna go 4 high. I'm gonna pull this in by 1. I still want one. I don't know. I think it would look cool to have one so high up. So that one would be about there. What is a confessio for? The confessio is a way to see the tomb of a saint that is underneath the main altar. So in St. Peter's case, the tomb of St. Peter. So it's kind of like a mini chapel unto its own. The confessio at St. Mary Major has the creche. The supposedly the not cradle, but manger, the manger of Christ's baptism. Noah Borna, thank you for the follow. Welcome. remove those. Bots on Twitch. Get that acacia tree to decay. Oh wow, we had just enough of that for the first layer. Well, now that we have that planned out, let's go do some more resource acquisition. Let's take the acacia wood back with us, because we can use that to make sticks, because we're going to need some more tools soon. So, home base. Yeah. I was going the right way. Oh, what's this? That is gratuitous educational moment. Just makes that appear on screen. It came from the Pajama Sam stream last week when the boat Otto was explaining how geysers work, and the game had that as a subtitle, just gratuitous educational content. And I laughed so hard, and I said I have to include that because of the random things that I wind up going on little educational talks about while streaming, such as this one. So that was a gratuitous educational moment. Which there's also the emote for. What was I doing? Yeah, but if you spend points, you get to do it on screen. I thought that was fun and cool. I thought it was cool and good. Hashtag interactive. Okay, now that we've got some more iron tools, let's go mining. I need a hydration reminder. I normally hydrate very well, but I'm forgetting that my tea exists today. That tea has gone cold. I'm still gonna drink it because I made it. Oh, I need another shovel. I need a dirt spoon. Because my current one's about to break. Put it in the microwave, at which point you will find the previous cup of tea. I don't do that. I actually don't even have tea that often normally. I only have it like once a week. And of course I drink my tea British. Unless it's Earl Grey. Earl Grey I drink just normal, but I drink like Captain Picard. If you need to microwave it, it means you made too much. Or you just forget about it. Hey, look at all this. I was just walking right by and I'm like, wait a minute, that's exactly what we're looking for. This is the material we were looking for. Oh, right, I'm out of torches. I have all sorts of problems in Minecraft today. I'm not used to... It's been so long since I've started a new server that's like, whew, I'm forgetting how hard it is to actually get started. Because I'm so used to mine where it's like, you know, I've got coal for days, I just use it, whatever. I mean, just because you can reheat your tea that many times, I don't think it means that you should. You think you've only done it once or twice? Okay. Who am I to judge, I suppose? You live in a state of denial. Ah, your air fryer has been delivered. Did everyone get an air fryer for Christmas? No, my air fryer did not arrive because I don't think I should really have one in my room. That seems like a bad idea. And that seems like a good use of a gift card. Step 0. You have 1 cubic foot of convection oven, Gale. Is that it? Anything but the metric system, right? But also, given how small my room is in the rectory, I don't know if I could even fit an air fryer. It's 50 amber bags. True, but unhelpful. Your feet are cubed? Well, mine are. Look at those things. Look how cubed those feet are. Okay, that should be enough of that for now. It's actually not that much when you really consider it, but let's get one more. It's 3.5 stacks. That's okay. See, I see some iron. That would be nice. Ominous hole in the ground. That doesn't seem a problem. Skeleton with a magic bow. Perfectly normal Tuesday. It's Wednesday. I know. That's why it's a perfectly normal Tuesday. I didn't say it was a perfectly normal Wednesday. Oh yeah, we died down here once. Ooh, I see diamonds. Also, look, a perfectly formed geode that's closed. At this point, I'm ignoring most of what's going on in chat with talking about toes. Hello, friends. Come into the lava. Okay, come near the lava. See, the spider understood the assignment. Ooh, more diamonds. Let the creeper there help take out these zombies. Hey, Mesozoic Mind, good to see you. Christmas was good. It was busy. It was busy, but it was great at the parish. Beautiful midnight mass. How about you? How was your Christmas? Oh, just one diamond? Sad. It's okay, we did see the other one on the other side. It was good. Your parents, your brother, and you? Oh, nice. I'm glad to hear the cousins are again to come into town. Sometimes a small, quiet Christmas is not a bad thing. Oh, hello. Usually a small, quiet Christmas isn't possible. I mean, it's not something possible for every family. Sure would love some coal down here, but I don't know if coal can be found. Ooh. Well, the New York area is spoiled for its Italian restaurants, so... Every year I always get to hear all about the 7 fishes. I want you, Iron, but you're way too high up. I don't feel like pillaring that high. Just set those out and run away so that things can't spawn there in the future. Okay, more diorite, but we don't need that. We need more andesite right now. We barely have any of that. Oof. Prayers for that family indeed. That sounds like a rough Christmas. Okay, that's a pretty good amount of materials that we just collected. We're missing out on the andesite, yeah. But let's go start smelting this iron ore. Although, maybe we should go looking for some coal. So we are running low on that. This should be a good depth for coal. We're down 6 iron, but we're up 27, so that's a pretty good net gain for us. Okay, let's try higher up. I forget what is a good Y level for coal. But we know we found some at our base. So I guess I should just stick there. You know, the opposite direction, but still. Hello? Oh, I guess I already dug this way. Oh yeah, look, I dug that way and I just blocked it out. Should move that torch to there. I should look at my stocking. I bet Steve has coal in his stocking. Hey, look at that coal. He knows what he did in Super Smash Brothers. Okay, that's a decent amount of coal. Come on. Put half in there. With that. Low on sticks. You know, maybe the railing... He just broke the meta. What's wrong with that? It's bannable. Maybe for the railing of the Confessio, we should do that in acacia wood. It sort of in a memory of all the acacia trees we're going to fell for this project. Yeah, 2 whole diamonds. That brings us up to 4. Starting a new server. No, it's good. I'm having fun, actually. Stick that in there. Let's see if we have a bit more andesite in here. Yeah, we got some. Oh yeah, we got plenty. So we'll just polish that for now. Oh, I can throw the redstone, the lapis, all of that. Okay, everything else can come with us to the build site. Am I going to make my cat a church cat? No, it was hard enough getting him into the base. I'm not moving him again. That cave is his church, as far as I'm concerned. He has maximum orange cat energy. I want to check something out really quickly. Can you make stairs out of polished andesite? Or diorite? The answer is yes to both. Because what I'm thinking is, from the base of all of this, it'll come up. We put steps, like we can make it step, like large blocks on the outside, on the corners, but the inner portion of each side. Oh, we're making this square, which I guess some Baldacchino areas are rectangular, but this will make it easier to center the dome in the long run. But yeah, if we like make it off of the pillars. It'll look something like that. Do I have the axe on me? No, of course not. I put the axe away. That would be helpful. I'm gonna need to clear out this acacia tree. Fortunately, in Minecraft, you can punch wood. As the old joke goes. Making a basilica. A cruciform basilica reminiscent of St. Peter's and other such designed basilicas. So this is we're starting with the general altar area. I'm not gonna finish it until we're designing the interior. But this is to give us an anchor point of the middle. Because we're going to build pillars around the outside of it, encased in a larger circle that goes up to the dome with transepts and a nave to make it cruciform. Cruciform is just a fancy word for shaped like a cross. Why are we involved in involving disgraced knights in all of this? Disgraced knights? What? I don't get what you're referencing. Well, the idea of an auditorium is actually rooted in the design of a basilica itself, as basilicas were designed to be gathering spaces where, you know, people could hear easily, so... Knaves. Ugh. Thou churlish knave. Making a pun like that. Okay, that was pretty dang close to everything we needed. So, edge of the altar goes like that. Actually, we need these because we're going to need to... Perfect. We'll need 4 of those. Only need a few of those, but we now have plenty of polished granite for other decorating needs. So, what's the best way to do this? Probably like this? Yep. Et voila, we have an altar. Although I think I'm probably gonna... Maybe I'll make this actually 3x4. Make it longer in the front. Yeah, I like that being a little longer in the front. I know it's not even all the way around, but I think for the aesthetics, that actually makes some sense. Like, as a presider, this feels... As someone who stands at a lot of altars... Then we can have 6 candles, too. We'll fill this in, for sure. I am going to leave that down there for now. I've got an idea. Although, actually... So there's a thing where, like, some saints in Rome have the honor of a lapis lazuli casket, which is very visually impressive, and it's, you know, the base of an altar. So I was actually thinking of doing that for the Confessio, so that might be what that's... So that's probably what that space down there will become, is you'd come down here, there'd be a barrier to keep you from falling in. There, not necessarily a crypt, but a Confessio for a singular crypt, I guess, for a singular tomb. But anyway, so like the Confessio, there'd be a thing here to stop you from accidentally falling in, and then it would come out, and then you'd have steps going down, and there'd be like a place of adoration and veneration directly below the altar where the tomb is, which is what kind of this would be, which is why I like these pillars extending all the way down, because I think that adds both to the aesthetic of it and also the sort of weight of the building itself, in that, you know, if there are visually supports, your brain is thinking, okay, this is heavy. I am also thinking, there's like white cloths, or well, just carpets in general, but I'll make a white one to put on the top of this. And then probably actually have the candles on like sticks on the side. So, but this is, if we do the entrance kind of over here, this is roughly how it would look at a distance, which I think is good. So that's a pretty good sized nave. So if we do the nave kind of out to here, you know, and then we can have the Confessio kind of about there-ish. And then the transepts. Don't want them too big. So, what is that? 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15? 15 blocks. These are holy sheep. They may not survive the building process. We'll see. No, they probably will, because sheep are very useful for wool. But they'll probably end up in a pen off to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, transept 2. And now we need the rear transept. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we're going to take a flight up. So you can't quite see it because... yeah, I think it's a nice beginning layout. We can't quite see where the north, well, I'm going to call the north transept, and where the south nave ends, but because they're both under the trees at the far end, but you can get a sense because of that. My lengthen the transepts just a little bit, but they are going to be pretty wide, because there's going to be a circular dome that encapsulates essentially all of that. So the circle's probably going to start somewhere around here-ish, which means we're probably going to build the pillars something like that. I kind of want it to be triangular, but just big enough that you can still pass through behind. It's probably about 2 spaces, so probably about like that. So there'd be one kind of each corner. Kind of like there's the 4 saints at St. Peter's in the corner. The huge, beautiful statues. I think one of them is a Bernini. I forget who the artists are, and I forget who all the saints are even. I think one's Agnes. One is definitely Longinus. I know that much. His statue is amazing. And I think the other two are also Roman saints. You know, it is sort of the Church of Rome in many ways, even though it's not the Cathedral of Rome. That's technically John the Lateran. So, yeah, I think we've made nice progress here. So I think that's actually going to be a good spot to call it for Minecraft. So I'm going to go back to the booth as I get the next game ready. Disconnect. Like I said, these games, we're not going to necessarily do like the full 2 hours that I usually do, because we're doing a bit of mini marathon. We're doing lots of things. Put that to sleep. So the next game I have, I hope I don't actually have to play for that long. Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures. Pac-Man 2. I paid $2 whole for this game. Look at that label. Can you believe it? This is generally considered one of the worst games ever. But I saw it at a retro game store in the discount bin for $2, and I was like, you know what? For the memes, I have to. There are reasons you have not heard of this Mesozoic Mind. As you will see, this game, like I said, this thing is... Words can't fully describe it. And it's not like Pac-Man. Is it going to work? Oh, I forgot. All my cables are messed up. I have to fix them. One moment. Pac-Man 2. The super cool hero of this game. Oh, we're back. That is such a bad game. It's so over. The star of her own arcade game and Pac-Man's video game wife. The radical rock and roller of the family. He hopes to star in his own game someday. The cute little tot with an appetite so big, even the ghosts are afraid to come near her. Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde, 4 crazy ghosts that love to terrorize people. Question mark? Nobody knows for sure just what it is, but rumors has it this mysterious... Oh, I didn't even get to finish reading it. Super Pac-Man. When Pac-Man eats a power pellet, he transforms into the ghost-busting Super Pac-Man. Okay. Where to start on this game? Okay, this game is not like Pac-Man. This was... in order to capitalize on the era, I guess? Hi, I'm Pac-Man. Today I'll introduce you to my world. My world can be tricky sometimes, so I'll need your help finding things, getting out of trouble, and solving weird mysteries. before we start our adventure, let's practice working together. Come on, follow me. Yeah, the music's... everything about this game is awful. That's why I only want to do this for like a little bit. Because I figure, you know what? A mini marathon like this is the perfect time to share this thing. So you don't play Pac-Man, by the way. What you play is... I have that slingshot. And I'm trying to get Pac-Man's attention. Yeah, see the letter? Get the letter. No, the letter, Pac-Man. Pac-Man! Yeah. No, that way. That way. Oh my goodness. Pac-Man. No, I don't. I know. I know. Thank you. Pac-Man. Pac-Man. Pac-Man is over. It was never there to begin. Oh, now you see the letter. Yes, good job. Good job, you. I don't know why we wanted that, but... Also, he has a house shaped like himself. This is a person trying to give directions to a cat. Yeah. I know, I've been doing this game. Hello, Pac Jr. What's with the slingshot? That's us. I don't understand what you want, Pac-Man. It's not even hit him. If you hit him too much with the slingshot, he just gets angry. You have to shoot everything around him and hope he notices. What do you want, Pac-Man? Why are you holding me hostage like this? He really is kind of like a toddler in that you'll try to get him to pay attention to something and he'll be like, nah, I want to look at this rock. And then he wants to look at the thing that you were already trying to get him to look at, and it's like... Sometimes you may even have to use the slingshot on Pac-Man. Shoot Pac-Man to wake him up. Oh. I think you're getting the hang of it. Now that we're friends. That is not what I... This is a point-and-click game designed by Sadistic Torture. Yes! Now that we're friends, here is an important hint. When I'm happy, I'll pay more attention to you. I don't... Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This is a power pellet. If I'm really in trouble, use the power pellet to turn me into Super Pac-Man. Oh no! There are ghosts! How... Okay, there's a map. Why does Pac-Man sound like Donald Duck on helium? Oh, thank you for finally torturing me for a few minutes with this imagery and then telling me how to do it. Thank you. What kind of bizarre fever dream have I uncovered here? Yeah, this is real. I think this is based on the Pac-Land arcade game, Kevin Lisi. Miss Pac-Man is calling me. Let's see what she wants. We're out of milk and Pac-Baby is still hungry. Can you go get some more milk, please? Oh, I'm sure. A trip to the store for milk? That'll be super easy for Pac-Man. Nothing can go wrong here. You know what? No, go that way. I don't even... Pac people are mammals? Not necessarily. It's just that they have mammals in their world that they milk. Do you want an apple? Yes, the dog is scary. No! Okay. We're going... No, we don't want to go to the farm. No. We need to go the other way. So, to my knowledge, there is only one person who has ever speedrun this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is like tapping. Yeah, sneak past the dog. Good, good. I mean, half the time you're just making problems for him, too. Pac-Man, why are you looking at someone else's mailbox? Oh, look at that. An apple on a keep out sign. I'm sure that's great. There, I got the apple down for you. Are you happy? Anyway, I think there's only one person who's ever speedrun this. Oh, look, a sign pointing to milk. I've been going the wrong way this entire time anyway. It's Mecha Richter. And then when asked about 100%, he just said there'd be no way. It would be like a 2-day speed run because there are so many ways for Pac-Man to get a game over. And that is required to 100% it. Look at this. Was one apple not enough? One giant apple not enough for you? Do you need more? Your daughter is hungry. Go to the store. This is officially the most I've ever played of this game, because I did once... When I bought it, I tested it, I got it cleaned up, and played it, and tried it out. And I just found... It's more... I own this more for the sake of having it for its historical role than anything else. I thought that would knock over the bottle like it knocked over the... Oh, shoot. I just broke the bottle.
Look. Look.
Uh,
Look. Look.
yes, let's just utterly complicate a game until it no longer resembles the game it is based on.
Look.
Turn around. We need to see if the bottle respawns. Hey, Timpy. Good to see ya. Oh, it is utterly complicated. No. Pac-Man? No. I'll just hit it once to get your attention. Yes. Yes, this is the store, apparently, where you buy milk. Why are you...
Look.
Oh, man, Mario CDI. What a game that sure does exist. We're playing... don't you recognize Pac-Man Step Zero? It's a perfectly ordinary game of Pac-Man. Somehow, if they had done this with any other IP, like even if they had just come up with something of their own, it would be better. But we have to sit here and stare at Pac-Man and think about our life choices and the fact that we don't get to actually, you know, play a game of Pac-Man. Let's knock out the farmer. Go home. Yes. Yeah, this is actually a Namco game. A kid has redeemed a father's joke. Well, the other day, you know, I told my boss I wasn't coming to work, and he said, "Why's that?" And I said, "Yeah, I thought so too." Thank you, darling. You were a great help. He sure was. Slow down, Pac baby. And there's a villain in this game. You've been beaten by Pac-Man. Now you must suffer the consequences. This went through a whole chain of people who approved it. Yeah. 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 Several people thought this was a good idea and would rescue the Pac-Man franchise in the early 90s, in the post-arcade era. Yeah, now it has story. Password. FOD5. For anyone who wants to play this from where we got to. I don't think that's a pre-title sequence. I think that's just the end of chapter titles card. So we'll probably get that every single time. Today is Lucy's birthday. She loves fresh mountain flowers. Please take the ropeway and pick some flowers for her. All right. Okay, Pac-Man. To the right, to the right. Who's Lucy? I don't know. Oh, that hay bale fell. That's spooky.
Look. Look.
Why does the cow bark?
Look.
Pac-Man runs errands for his wife.
Look. 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 Look.
You have to make it past the scary cow that you weren't scared of last time. Don't stop to think about the consequences of your actions now, Pac-Man. That's never gotten you anywhere.
Look. Look.
It's fine.
Look.
Just keep going. Oh my gosh, she actually went to the station. Danger. Yes, I'm sure the ominous holes in the wall are so much better. This Pac-Man is dumb as a brick. Hey, be nice to bricks. See, everything's fine now.
Look. Look.
Pac-Man, move. Cheap death. Yeah, well, I think that's the secret subtitle of this game. No, no,
Look. Look.
did you see the rope?
Look.
Pac-Man, did you see the rope?
Look. 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 Look.
Huh?
Look. Look.
Oh, I get it, a rope. Bucks fall, Pac-Man dies. What is this climbing noise? I think, well, the nationality, I think, is American because it should be Mecha Richter. Oh, I didn't clear the rock, so now everything's broken and we're dead. Oh, it's South Korean. Huh. I know Mecha Richter was one of the few people to ever bothered to actually. And I missed the rock at the very end. Oh. Sorry, I misread who was responding already. Let's take care of the rock. Kiyazara. I don't know if I know Kiyazara, but I was right. I said American.
Higher.
21 minutes? I refuse to believe that, because you cannot control Pac-Man that quickly. Oh no, a flying level indeed. And you know what? You can play Miss Pac-Man in this? That is shocking. But you have to find the 3 pieces, because that's how cartridges work. Yes. That's obviously what those are. And so I like that it's like, oh, there's a collectible to play this, secret ID, and flowers. Rocketeer SNES was a game so bad that even after I bought it, I had to trade it back because the problem is that game is a collection of mini games. Essentially. Why? You know what? I think we've had our fun with Pac-Man. I just wanted to do this to show it off because it's so bad, but I am happy that I own this game for the sake of like collector and historical value, but woo, is this game actually terrible to play? Okay, that was just actually physically painful. So we're going to take a short break, but don't go away because we're going to come back. We're going to have more. We're going to come back to Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. We're going to have some fun jamming that. What was I going to say? I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. Everyone get up, stretch your legs, go get a drink of water, go to the restroom, do whatever you need. And we will be right back. All right, and I am back. So thank you for the break. Hope everyone's still having a good time. I'm not used to coming back from breaks. Oh well. So we're gonna be diving back into. Oh, that's getting content claimed. So last time we left off, we were in Agrabah, but not Agrabah because it's the Agrabah made of our memories. And we're in a castle. But first, a word from our food sponsor. Not actually sponsoring me, but Pocky. Because it's a marathon. What's a marathon without some snacks? The non-chocolate reinforced ends of these did not survive being shipped. Because the chocolate's fully intact. So we have to go here. Oh, wait, no, that's the treasure room. We have to go here. What's this? Has Aladdin given up on his precious Jasmine already? Well, I'm not going to waste a wish on the likes of you three. I'll deal with you myself. Aladdin, now! Surprise! What? You, Genie, seized him. Oh, forgive me. That was not seizing. You fell for it, Jafar. What do you mean? He means that you just blew your second wish, only one left. Go ahead and use it to win Jasmine's heart. You'll still have to deal with us. Oh, now I get it. Al, you're so clever. Well, well, the cunning of a rat. But unfortunately, you can't see beyond the bait. Your little ploy changes nothing. I can crush you once and for all and make Jasmine my own. Genie, my last wish. Transform me into an all-powerful genie. It's so hot. Jafar must be doing this. Yeah, it couldn't possibly be the lava. Where'd Iago go? Excuse me. Excuse me.
Heal.
Jafar, I will break your cards. I'm gonna die. I should have just done a slate to break that. Okay, that was weird. Uh-oh, I think I know what's going on. Technology issue. One moment.